I wanted to talk about something that is sometimes a hot topic or kind of a debate in the equestrian world, which is hind end disengagement through lateral flexion. So that sounds like a lot of fancy words, but all it really means is something you've probably already seen before called a one-rein stop. To stop forward movement, to de-escalate a situation, if you will, by disengaging the horse's hind end. So I'm going to show you what that looks like real quick, and then I kind of want to talk about why some people love this and some people don't love this so much. So I'm going to bring Velvet over here. Hind end disengagement is exactly what it sounds like. I want her hind leg, so essentially her inside leg, to cross her outside hind. So when I walk to disengage this horse's hip, and again, I'm not sure how good you can see this, I want just the hind end to disengage. So if I go on this side, I want to see this inside hoof, bam, bam. Now, all horses are typically better on one side than the other. So she's a little bit better on this side, right there, right there. So what you notice when you disengage a horse's hind end is there's no forward movement. The horse can't buck, they can't rear, they can't bolt. You're really just kind of eliminating movement. So the reason that a lot of people love this tool is for that exact reason. You can de-escalate a situation, or you completely stop a situation from occurring altogether. The way you translate that under saddle is through lateral flexion. So if I go up to my horse and I ask for her nose, right, I'm essentially asking her to soften her nose laterally, right, with very little pressure. And I like to stand right at the withers to kind of mimic what it would be like on their back, okay? So what this means is when you're on the horse, if you can get the horse's nose to bend very, very easily with very little pressure, you're able to disengage the hind end at the same time. So the reason a lot of people don't like this is that exact reason. Particularly if you're in the performance horse industry, the last thing you want to do is disengage the horse's hind end repeatedly, because all of your power is coming from the hind end. So if your horse is constantly being told to disengage and to ignore the fact that the rein is connected to their feet, you can create a big problem. You can essentially create a horse that has like essentially what we would call kind of wormy. They don't want to stay straight. They don't want to use the power in their hind end because they're being shut down in the hind end so much. So what I notice is that, you know, for a lot of folks, this is a really good tool. It makes them feel safer to know that they have this emergency one rein stop. We teach it to all of our horses and all of our students. For the kind of work that we do, it's really important that there is kind of an emergency shut-off button on our horses. Now, if you're in the performance horse industry and you're doing a lot more intricate movements or exercises, you're going to have a lot more buttons and a lot more tools that that horse understands in order to control their motion, right? It's very unlikely you're going to need to shut down a very escalated situation with a very well-trained horse, right? I think too, with any exercise, it's all about balance. So I don't want to stand here for 30 minutes and ask Velvet to, you know, disengage her hind end or flex, 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 flex laterally nonstop, because then I'm going to create this repetition to where the horse anticipates that. And really, they just start avoiding the pressure on the reins. They're not actually soft, right? So there is a difference. The other thing you'll notice is that sometimes when you ask them to flex or soften laterally, they kind of tilt their head, when really you would like the nose to stay perpendicular to the ground. So you're getting that full range of motion and not just a cocked pole, cocking their head at the pole, which is something that I think Velvet exhibited doing this, right? That's not really what we want to see. Now, I don't practice a one rein stop on her really ever, because again, had this horse a long time, we have a lot of other tools we can use to de-escalate a situation. But particularly when we're starting young horses, it is a really nice thing to have in our back pocket. Or for folks that are beginners, I like knowing I've got something really quick and easy that can shut a horse down. But if you're in the performance horse industry, I completely understand how disengaging that hind end and disconnecting the rein with the feet is absolutely not what you want to do. You want the foundation to always have those things connected. So that's just a quick little rundown on how those things are connected. The natural horsemanship movement kind of takes credit for this exercise. Again, there's positives and negatives to using this exercise, but just like with anything else, it's all about balance. So I love the fact that I can disengage this horse's hind end very easily, but I can also do that on the front end. So you have to, again, we want to have both. So just because I can do the rear, I should also be able to do the front with just as little pressure, right? Because we want to make sure the horse's entire body is limber. Right? I should be able to move both sides, both pieces in a balanced way.